Hello, everyone. I am Alpa Shah, your host for this podcast show. This podcast is all about bringing together all the inspiring voices around us. So, join me as we explore new ideas, real stories, and everything that sparks creativity and growth. With the note of creativity and new ideas, today I'm excited to welcome a special guest, Anjali Kriplani. She is young and energetic personality who loves to pen down her thoughts through her writing. Also, she has been an RJ anchor with ET Now, also creative producer with Kukufil. Anjali completed her master's in English literature from the University of Mumbai in 2012. She lives to read, write, travel, and discover new places. So let's welcome Anjali and hear some more interesting stories of her journey. Welcome, Anjali. Welcome to our show.
Hi, thanks. Thanks, Alpa. I'm happy to be chatting with you.
So Anjali, I have already, said whatever you are or your background is, but still would like to know a little bit more about before got into this writing industry or position because you are an RJ, you did masters in English literature. So what makes means what thought came in your mind when you thought you have to write or a novel and publish that? So you were
Yeah. So I think I,
yeah, so since starting, you were in writing or you were doing before something and suddenly you started this.
Right. So actually, I think I started writing when I was about 13. So I first started writing poems in school. So I remember there was a poetry competition and I kind of entered, something I had written and that ended up winning the prize. So I think that was the first time that my parents also realized that I actually write and I do enjoy writing. So I remember, when I showed my parents the poem, they were quite surprised because until then they had no idea. So they were just like, wow, like, are you sure you've written this? And I was like, yes, what do you mean? So I think that was my starting point. So then while I was in high school and college, I kind of kept writing, on the side. It was something I always did. So I started first writing. I used to write for this magazine, which was like a community magazine. So I started writing articles for them, and then then I moved to writing short stories, and then I was a freelance journalist. Along the way, I would kind of write for. I ended up writing for the Oprah magazine in South Africa as well when I was about 20. So I think writing was something that always happened on the side. And my mom always told me that, you should become an author. But I think I always thought that, oh my God, writing a book is such a big deal. And, I thought I'll do this, but I will write books, but maybe I'll do it much later in life because I wanted to become a TV anchor. That was my
Oh,
goal. Yeah, so which I did end up doing also when I, got a job with ET Now and I was an anchor producer there. But I think what I've now realized is I think I always have just enjoyed communication. So whether it's writing, whether it's speaking on camera, whether it's radio, I think I just enjoy expressing myself and communicating. So I think writing has been constant. And along with that, I've kind of also explored other sort of fields. Yeah.
so it's correct that the school taught you so many things out of your real life. No, means it's not every time the school's syllabus or school books only helps you to create your own identity out of the when you enter in the commercial life. So I guess that school poem competition, help you to find your own this guts. Okay, fine, I'm something into I can write. So this is something as in hidden things which discovered through your that poem, and even your parents also discovered. Oh wow, she has wrote this.
Yeah.
So that's really helped. So I believe the school should have such competitions or such kind of
Mm.
activities where kids get chance to discover their own hidden talent. So that's really
Yeah.
nice. So tell me, when you thought about to write, and your mom also believed that you can be a good author, what topic interests you? Like there are lots of thought process or lots of different topics comes when you start writing. How do you find, this one is my genre, this is my forte to talk, write down this topic, or when you start thinking, so collectively lots of thoughts comes. So how do you manage to separate your own thoughts and make it in a very beautiful words? So, what makes someone a very good storyteller? Actually, that's the main question.
Yeah. I think you need to have a great imagination to become a storyteller. And I always believe that people who read a lot can become writers, because I think, for me as well, I've been a reader. I used to read lots of books from the age of, I think my interest in reading again developed quite early when I was a child. But I read a lot, from the ages of 10 onwards, I would say. And yeah, and I think all that reading, when you read, you kind of it anyways activates your imagination. And I think people who read a lot, somewhere it does spark that kind of feeling that I want to write also, and I have a story to tell too. And I genuinely do believe every human being has a story to tell, right? Because everyone's life is so unique. You can literally grow up in the same family and still have different takes on things, right? Because parents also are different with each child. Everyone has a different experience. And of course, and then who you are as a person shapes also your thoughts. So yeah, so I think everyone has a story to tell. But I think one should become a writer, or one should write when they really have that burning desire, where they feel like this story needs to come out on paper. I want this to be out there. I think that's when that feeling comes, is when a person should actually sit down and write. Having said that, of course, over the years I've realized with writing you do need discipline. It's not always that you have to wait that, oh, inspiration, my inspiration will come, because if you do that, you will just be sitting for ages. So you need to kind of, also there are times when I've sat with my laptop, it's a blank page, actually don't know where the story is going, what I'm going to write. And I've been amazed at how it has taken shape and it's become a story, or an idea for a novel. But when it came to actually writing my books, I think I was pretty clear that I wanted it to be light reads, so romantic comedies, because I enjoyed reading that a lot, especially, when I was in college and university. And there were certain authors whose books I loved, because, I could be having a terrible day, but I would read that book and it would cheer me up and it would kind of give me hope. So I think I wanted to then do that for my readers. So I think that was when I said I want to write light, fun reads. And of course, then I got the idea for my first book, suddenly, where actually it came through when my sister was talking to my mom, and my sister said, all the things that I've said I'll never do, I have ended up doing in life. And that kind of gave me the idea for my first book, Never Say Never, which is about a girl who makes a list of things she's never going to do, but then of course life happens and she ends up doing that. So I think the ideas can strike from anywhere, and if someone wants to be a writer, you should just keep your eyes and ears open, because you really never know when an idea will kind of strike you. And yeah, and don't be afraid to kind of sit with a blank page and start and just see where it goes.
So it means the surroundings, the incidents, conversation, or anything which is happening, means motivates, not the correct word, but yeah, inspired you or click something. If you see, because only certain things, creative people cannot notice. Everyone cannot notice what is happening surrounding. Maybe
Yes,
with you, I am standing, and what you notice, I may not be, because your mind, your eyes, and ears are already synced with that kind of concept. So
true.
surroundings helps you to create more stories. So that
Yeah.
makes a good story.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to, because one of the things that people have always enjoyed, my readers have enjoyed with my books, and I've always got compliments for, is that people have found the characters very relatable, or they've always found the writing style relatable, or the way people talk. And that's because I'm setting my books in a contemporary setting, right? It is set in today's day and age. I feel like it has to reflect the way people talk, or if my characters are 25, or if they're in that age group of in their 20s or 30s, then it has to be like how people in that age group talk, right? And when there's an older character, the way that character will talk will be like how our parents talk, or someone in the age group of 50s 60s will speak. So I think this all these kind of nuances will come from observation, which is, so you would ask me, what does one need to become a writer? I think definitely observation is really important. So I think it's a combination of observation and imagination, right? Because I also often get asked a lot, actually, that do I write, I'm writing fiction, but people ask me that is this based on true incidents or real life? And I always say that it's a blend of fact and fiction, right? It's a blend of things I've observed in my surroundings, people I've observed, character traits, in friends, or family, or in myself also. And then you weave a story and you kind of use your imagination to create this world of characters. So yeah, I think it's but you know what, the funny thing is, I've also realized that perhaps I was always wired to being a storyteller, because even before I could write, I think I was always interested in people. Like, when I would meet a new person, I'm genuinely interested in knowing their life story. Like, like, oh, so what has your romantic life been like? Who have you dated? Tell me things about. So genuinely interested in people. So probably somewhere I was already kind of observing and saving that kind of information to be used, not to scare people into, like, that if you become my friend, I will use things you tell me. But yeah, I think all writers tend to do that. We are always kind of observing.
So instead of interested, can we use curious word? You should be very
Yeah, sure, sure,
curious
of
to
course.
dig out,
You have to
somebody.
be curious, I think,
Yeah. So
definitely.
because that's
Um,
what the,
Hi.
I guess a food for any, a story writer.
Oh,
That's a very,
mm,
base of curiosity is the main element for your character when you started writing.
correct.
So tell me exactly, see now, you are a writer, you are not pro writer, I guess. So if someone like me who is still thinking how to write, what to write, and because I have so many thoughts in my mind, but how to, convert into my thoughts that exact words, what exactly the process, from where to start that?
Yeah. So I think the first step has to be sit down and write the plot, right? And I've done a creative writing course. I had done that while I was writing my first book already. And I remember our lecturer, had said something very nice, where she said that if you have an idea, you have a story idea, just work on writing that, putting down that idea first, put down the story. You can always work on the grammar, the editing, making the sentences better, more poetic, all of that later. But the first draft should just be that plot, like what is the actual story, right? Because that is about 70% of the work done. Once you've got the whole story down, the whole plot is down, then you can kind of, work on, sit down. Because, anyways, writing is a lot of editing and re editing, right? Which is also something I think people don't realize. You think that, oh, everyone who's writing bestsellers, like they've written it in one shot. Not at all. You write it, then you'll go back to it, then you kind of, sit with each paragraph, each sort of a sentence, think about how to make it better. And of course, the toughest part for us writers is when, when the book is getting edited, and when our editors tell us, this is not necessary, take this out, because we're so attached to everything we've put down and to our words, that tends to feel like, oh my God. So I think, yeah, I think the first step is sit down and write the story. That is step number one. And then you work on editing it. And there are editors also. You can have someone who can even help you edit, who you can sort of externally, like publishing houses, of course, have editors. But even before you approach a publishing house, if you want to get it edited, there are people who do that. So I think the first step should just be write down the story, sit down, what is the story, get down to that first.
So now, as you said, first you have to, create a plot. You have to, sit down and write the plot. That helps to at least 70% of your work, right? That helps to
Yeah,
finish, because once the idea is clear, what will be the plot or the story of the book
right.
or any magazine thoughts you say, okay, for whatever you are writing
Yeah,
at. After
yeah.
that, you said create a proper conversation in between those characters. You have to
Mm,
create a character which really, register to the reader's mind, because
yeah.
plot is there, but if the characters are not portrayed well, so maybe
Mm,
they will not get registered in the reader's mind. After all this editing, corrections, everything is done. Now you are going for a publishing. Okay.
yeah,
So how important after the publish the book, okay, how important the marketing for when
yeah,
it comes to the book? How important?
yeah. Oh, it's very important. So I think that's another thing which, again, new writers or first time writers don't realize, that, as much as, you think you've done your work, you've written your book now, now it's going to go out into the world and people will buy it and it'll become an overnight bestseller. But that is generally not the way it works. What will happen is you will have to kind of keep, promoting your book. You will have to get the word out there. And then that, tends to be, a lot of writers do find it awkward do that because by nature many of the writers tend to be introverts, and you're someone who likes to think and be on your own and write, and that's why you became a writer. But the one part you have to realize is marketing actually then becomes quite important. And especially what I realize is in India especially in India, I think a lot of the marketing onus actually comes on the author. So even if you have written with one of the bigger publishing houses and they have dedicated marketing people and they've created a marketing plan for you, and they will help you and they'll do the launch for you, they will do certain events, or they will get the book out there in their own way. But after a point, after that initial thing is done, then what? So you have to keep you have to keep promoting it. That's what I've realized. And also in an organic way, you do a lot of offline events. I'll go and I'll speak at colleges or schools, or use your network of people who work at certain organizations, and you try and go and speak there. Or so the point is to kind of get the word out there, because every day there are so many books that are coming out that it becomes really and it's a crowded kind of market in that sense, right? And again, these days you're not only just competing with like other books that are out there, you're also competing with so you're actually competing for your readers attention, because they are, instead of picking up a book, people can watch something on OTT. And so that becomes also your competition. So you're literally just trying to get a reader's attention. And then that happens by you kind of doing online as well as offline, events, promotions, things. And but then again, what I've also realized is you'll do things up to where your budget is, because there are and that's where there is an unfair advantage where certain authors have deeper pockets and deeper budgets, and they can really go all out there, whereas most people will not. You'll have a certain budget, and then you'll not have an endless amount of money that you can pump into it, right? So I think you have to find creative, innovative ways to promote it also. It doesn't always have to be about where you pay. It's like, how can I get the word out there without necessarily spending also so much. So I think marketing in general, but then it's actually that when you think about it, I think that is with anything in today's day and age, right? Whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a celebrity, whatever it is, I think your presence out there and your promotion and all of that becomes important. So that is something I think many people also don't realize, that marketing is an important part of this, getting the word out there about your work. But I also believe that as an author, it can't be that you only focus on the marketing. At the end of the day, it should be a good story. Like, I always have been conscious of the fact that it's my name going out there with the book. So I should be happy with what I've written, and I should be satisfied. And, I'll only kind of feel that my book is ready when I feel like, yes, this is the best I could have done with this book. So yeah, I think it is a process. It is a long process also, which people don't realize.
So that's really actually important, points you have covered. Instead of reading, people choose OTT as well, because nowadays
Yeah,
everything is covered in that 6 inches,
correct.
mobile phone, everything, the
Yes.
whole information over there. But we
Mm.
have to create that awareness or educate people. That old school types, you have to read the books.
Mm.
You have to,
Yeah,
create that interest in reading, because reading makes your, I guess, more sharper, and the memory
yeah,
also gets sharper when you read anything. It could be anything, whatever your
correct.
choice of subject. So apart from all these writings and producing and all, who is actually Anjali? What she does in her free time?
Yeah. So I think I've always I'm someone as I just like I think I'm an introverted extrovert actually. So I am that person who I love reading. So I can be very content with a nice book, and I will be sort of, if you leave me alone, I'll be happy with my book to read all day. But at the same time, on some days I just actually want to go out and meet people. So then I'm quite active in terms of I've joined a lot of communities, and I have a lot of like either author communities, book clubs. I run a book club also. I'm part of a women's networking group, and I am so I do a lot of these things where I go out and meet people. Also, I think maybe I do that because writing is a lonely profession and you're doing it alone, so I kind of want that social interaction, and I want to
That's why
meet
I've
people.
asked this
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Because
So
writing,
I genuinely like going out, meeting new people. And yeah, and I love traveling. I mean, if I, again, if that's something where if I have unlimited resources, I would spend it on traveling. I don't care about, I've always said I don't really care about jewelry and like designer bags and all of that. If I have an unlimited budget, it will go in traveling, because the
traveling.
goal is to actually see the entire world. So I have traveled quite a bit. Thankfully, our parents also enjoy traveling, so they did kind of take us on trips from a young age. And of course, as I was telling you, I have lived in South Africa from the age of 13 to 21. So yeah, I just feel like travel gives you all that, a lot of exposure, right? Where you realize that, otherwise when you're living your life, you're so engrossed in your own problems, your own world. And it's only when you travel you realize that, the world is so big, and you kind of learn about different cultures, different ways of doing things. So I think it definitely opens up your mind. So yeah, I think these are the things I really enjoy when I'm not writing or reading. I would be traveling or meeting new people, going out. Also a big foodie, so eating out probably. So yeah, and in recent times, I think I've also kind of moved towards a little bit towards like meditation, and kind of learned tarot also recently. So yeah, I have always been interested in astrology and tarot. So and
That's a curious mind,
numerology.
because
Yeah. Yeah.
astrology and numerology or a tarot, it's all only those people can take an interest who are really curious. I wanted to
Yeah.
know this, why I've asked you this question, ki, who is Anjali apart from that? Because writing is just maybe, in school time you wrote a poem and that, you found your hidden talent over there, even your parents. But sometimes
Yeah.
what happens if we really don't know, okay, what we are doing in our actual life apart from what we are having our career, that really reflects and reconnect with each other. Actually, those are the
Mm.
interlink. Like you said, ki if you get an unlimited source, you go for a traveling, you are a big
Mm.
foodie, like to meet people, you are a lot of part of the groups, because you have that nature which is you might be not understand, or maybe people don't get that ki those are the things helps you to refresh your thoughts and refresh your
Yeah.
mindset. And
Definitely.
because of you are updated and upgraded of the outside world, you are able to write down your thoughts in a better way. So that may
Yeah.
be, if I'm, it's my guess or it's my observation after listening you, that may be a creating you more sharper and more creative writer, as well as more clearer in your thoughts. Because the writing,
Definitely.
we have means maybe you can use so many alternative words for a same thoughts, but those
Yeah.
alternative words also you will find out when you are going around, when you are meeting people,
Correct.
when you
Correct.
experience and listen their stories. So that's all the my main question, my purpose of
Yeah.
asking you, who is Anjali apart from a author.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's really nice to know that you're a big time foodie and traveler,
Mm.
because these two things, mind and your stomach, gives you a very
Mm.
good this thing. I can say a
Yeah.
good thoughts, because
Yeah.
traveling your mind always a very different level of state of mind, I believe, because I also
Yeah.
do a lot of traveling, and when I come back
Yeah.
from travel, I always occupied with those memories with the good
Mm.
means I started looking those things again in my imagination or my observation in a
Yeah.
different I saw. Suppose
Correct.
uh,
Yeah.
recently I came from Budapest and
Yeah.
Vienna, Greece, London. Just recently I
Lovely.
returned
Yeah.
from my trip.
Mm.
When I'm
Yeah.
seeing those pictures or I'm remembering those things and discovering something new. Oh, what I saw is this
Mm.
one this way, or this one is this way.
Yeah.
That time you were in that zone, but when you come back, you
Correct.
start thinking another way. So
Yeah.
it was really nice. So you have any tips and tricks for our listener who may be inspired from your story, would like to be an author? So any single tip or tricks you want to share before we wrapping up?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I've shared a lot, but I think one of the main ones actually is actually, and it may sound cliched, but it really is that believe in yourself. Because, I think generally we always have a lot of self doubt, especially when it comes to creating something or writing a story. And I also faced that. So when I was writing my first book, even though, and writers are quite a weird breed, I think, because some days we'll be like, Arey wow, like, I've written something amazing, I'm so good. And then some days that self doubt really takes over, and you're like, is this really good? What will people enjoy it? So I think you have to kind of believe in yourself. You have to believe that the story you're telling is important. People will want to read it. And if you truly believe in in what you're doing and in yourself, I think and nothing is impossible. You can sort of achieve anything, right? And so when I was quite young also when my first book came out. I was about 25, and I remember I was the reason I had kind of forced myself also to finish it was because I was at a bookstore and I was looking at the books by Indian authors there. And I think I was like flipping through books and I was like, what is stopping me? I can do this too. Like, if all of these writers have had the faith and they've kind of believed in themselves and they've managed to get their books out there, why can I not do this? I can do it too. So I think just believe in yourself. Don't let the self doubt kind of, grip you. And I always say this, I think women in general, we tend to have imposter syndrome. I think men are, inherently just more confident than women, where we are, can be really good and really accomplished. But when it comes to whether it's at the workplace or trying something new or writing, we tend to doubt ourselves and we kind of tend to think that, should I really do this? Maybe someone else is, other people are doing it, they're better. So I think always sort of tell yourself, remind yourself that you have done, you've accomplished many other things in your life. And like you've done that, you can do this as well. So I think, yeah, for anyone who wants to write, I would just say believe in yourself and one day at a time. So, focus on getting that story down. So, it's like when you write every day is when you will finally get your 60,000 words. But if you just stare at the blank page and never do anything about it, it'll be unwritten, right? So, yeah.
So that's really a very energetic and motivational, a tip and tricks. I can say, Kim, just write down. Maybe you have got that 60,000 words, but unless until you are not
Yeah.
starting, you are
Yes.
writing your thoughts, you won't be able to create that story. Or you can
Correct.
cannot start. So that first step is very important to start
Of course.
writing. Collectively,
Yes.
thoughts just put down on a paper. So that's really
Yeah.
nice. That's a wrap
Yeah.
up for today's show. If you enjoyed this episode, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel and share and spread the word. Remember, your journey is unique and every step you take matters. Until next time, this is Alpa signing off with love and light. And thank you, Anjali, once again. It was
Thank
really,
you.
really motivational, and I'm really happy to know that there are certain basic thumb rules for the writings which so many people might be not knowing. Now they are know.
Yeah.
They know these things
Yeah.
and they can definitely, gives a once time thought for themselves to start writing. So you are a
Yeah.
true motivational for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Alpa. Lovely chatting with you. Take care.
Same here, same here.